rainy Sunday afternoon. I'm wasting my time, I got nothing to do. I'm hanging around, I'm waiting for you, but nothing ever happened. And I wonder.
Hello, good afternoon, dear students. Welcome to the live session for today's week. My name is Diana Crisol Estrada Jimenez. I'm your facilitator, and I'm going to be presenting to you some information according to the second week of the module. Muy buenas tardes a todos los que están presentes en esta sesión y bienvenidos. Yo soy su facilitadora Diana Crisol Estrada Jiménez y tengo preparada para ustedes la siguiente sesión correspondiente a la semana número 2 del módulo 6. Antes de comenzar con esta sesión, me gustaría informarles o recordarles también que la semana pasada recibimos una notificación de parte de la dirección académica donde se nos indica que tenemos que transmitir las sesiones en vivo y compartir los mensajes e información en este módulo 6 totalmente en inglés. Esto me gustaría aclararlo porque en la sesión anterior, la primera que tuvimos, yo les informé que la comunicación en este módulo iba a ser en inglés y en español, de manera traducida, tanto las retroalimentaciones como los mensajes y los foros. Entonces, a partir de la semana pasada se nos notificó esta nueva indicación, por lo tanto, los mensajes que les he compartido, si se han dado cuenta, han sido totalmente en inglés. La sesión, a partir de esta sesión que tendremos, también será totalmente en inglés. Sin embargo, en la sección de dudas y preguntas, como ya saben que lo organizo al final de esta presentación, ustedes pueden acercarse a mí para presentarme alguna duda o alguna pregunta que tengan sobre el contenido que he explicado y con mucho gusto la respondo en español. De cualquier manera, si tuvieran dudas adicionales, se pueden comunicar conmigo por medio de la mensajería de la plataforma o de mi correo electrónico y de esa manera ya los apoyo de forma personalizada. Bien, entonces vamos a dar inicio. Como les comento, la sesión va a ser en inglés. Voy a tratar de hacerlo de la manera más sencilla posible para que se comprenda todo lo que estoy explicando, pero les recuerdo, si alguien presenta alguna duda, con mucho gusto me puede comentar y al final me regreso para ver el chat y revisar sus preguntas y responderles. Si no quieren presentar su duda por este medio, pues de igual manera me contactan por medio de la mensajería y con mucho gusto ya los apoyo por misma sección. Okay, we're going to start. Thank you very much for being here. I'm going to say hi to the students who are connected right now. I have Liz Ramirez. Hello, Liz. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Okay, so I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation for you in which I'm going to explain content of module number 6. Let's start. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to mention the session purpose for today's presentation. The purpose for this session is to explain in detail the activities or tasks to be delivered, exercise and topics of week number 2 of Module 6, as well as reaffirm the knowledge acquired in the previous week to strengthen the language and grammar of the English language. Session content. This next content we're going to see in today's presentation. And this is the order in which you're going to see everything explained. And I remind you that at the end of the session, we have solution to doubts. If you have any question or any doubt, you can write it to me at the chat. And at the end of the session, I'm going to read all the questions and I'm going to answer it. Okay, so first of all, we have the welcome and purpose of the session. Next, we are going to review the previous topics. Next, we are going to check the topics to learn in week number 2. Next, I'm going to activities or homework to do. Next, I'm going to explain how to do the first integrative activity called Be My Guest. After this, I'm going to explain how to do the next activity, which is called Come to My House. Then I'm going to explain how to participate in the learning forum. I'm going to present additional resources and support material for you. I'm going to answer your questions and doubts. And finally, I'm going to give you different suggestions and recommendations and the farewell. Okay, so first of all, we're going to review the previous topic, the topics that we already seen on week number 1. On week number 1, we saw mainly different verbs. The first verb that we saw was the verb to be. Verb to be means ser o estar. Okay, in Spanish significa ser o estar, to mean. So when you are going to use the verb to be, you're not going to write it as you can see it like that. You have to conjugate the verb according to the subject you're using. For example, if you are using I, the form of be that you're going to use is am. I am. For example, I am Diana. I am a teacher. I am a student. If you need to use the subject you, then you have to use the form are. For example, you are my friend. You are my sister. You are my brother. If you use the third person, he, she, or it, then you need to use is. For example, she is my friend. She is my mother. And then with we and they, again, you have to use the form are. This is example to make affirmative sentences. I have another example on the right, as you can see right here. I'm going to read it for you. Yo soy maestra. I am a teacher. Ella es de España. She's from Spain. Tú eres mi amigo. You are my friend. ¿Estás listo? Are you ready? If you see that when you make questions, you don't write the same order in the sentences. For example, if you write the affirmative form, first you need to write the subject and then the verb. If you have to do a question, the first word you have to write is the verb and then the subject. ¿Estás listo? Are you ready? And then at the end, you have to write the question mark. In English, you don't write two question marks. You only write one question mark and it's written at the end. If you need to say your age, how old are you? Then you need to use the verb to be. Look at this example. Ella tiene 20 años. She is 20 years old. You don't use the verb have to mention your age. For example, she has 20 years old. No, that is incorrect. To mention age, you need to use the verb to be, like in this example. She is 20 years old. I am 20 years old. He is 40 years old. You are 30 years old, and so on. Another verb that we saw last week was the verb have. The verb have means tener in Spanish. When you use the verb have in third person, he, she, or it, then you need to write the verb in a different way. For example, has. Okay, you can see here in the pink and yellow box right here. If you use it with the rest of the subjects, then the form of the verb is the regular form or the base form, have. I have, you have, we have, they have. But what happens when you use the third person? The third person is he, she. Then you only need to write it differently, like this, has. Examples. Nosotros tenemos un perro. We have a dog. Okay, I'm using have because at the beginning the subject is we. We have a dog. What happens if I use he? Él tiene un coche rojo. Then he has a red car. It's not correct if you say he have a red car. Okay, he has a red car is correct. What happens with the subject she? Ella tiene dos hermanos. Ella, Ana, mi mamá. For example, she has two brothers. Ella tiene dos hermanos. Okay? What happens if you use you? Tú tienes ojos grandes. You have big eyes. It's not correct if you say you has big eyes. Okay? You have big eyes. Ellos tienen casa en la playa. Ellos is they. Ellos es they. They have a house at the beach. Okay? Vocabulary to review. It's very important for you to practice the vocabulary you're learning every day because the vocabulary that you learn in week number 1, you have to use in the next weeks and in model number 7. For example, for this week, you need to review the colors, numbers, to mention age, to mention dates, adjectives to describe people, to describe personality, order of adjectives, grammar rules of writing. For example, in English, both question marks or exclamation marks are not used, only the one at the end, like this. What's your name? Only one question mark at the end, not two, not the first, only the second. In English, there are no accents, like in Spanish, like México, México, el acento. En inglés no hay acentos, there are no accents in English. The proper or city names are written the same. For example, Guadalajara, Rosa, Maria, Pedro, Diana. You don't need names or names of the city or last names. If your name is Rosa, if your name is Maria, if your name is Pedro, if your name is Jorge, then you have to write it the same. It's not necessary to translate it. For example, Rose, Mary, Peter, George. No, it's not necessary. If you want to, you can translate it, but if you don't want to, it's not necessary, okay? Okay, in week number 2, we are going to learn different topics, different new topics also. For example, you're going to learn how to describe personal and household objects, okay? You're going to learn how to indicate where they are, in what part of your house. For example, I have books in the living room. I have a shampoo in the bathroom. I have 2 beds in my bedroom. I have plants in the garden. You're going to learn how to give information about places in the city and their location. So for this section, you have to learn first how to say the names of the places in the city. For example, bank, school, university, museum, gallery, shopping center, and so on. And you have to say also their location. For example, where is the bank? The bank is on King Street. Where is the supermarket? The supermarket is in front of the museum, and so on. The vocabulary you have to learn this week is the next. You're going to learn the parts of the house. For example, bathroom, kitchen, living room, garden, garage. You're going to learn how to mention the personal items. For example, your clothes, things that you have in your bedroom, like your books, your computer, your shoes, your pants. You also are going to learn how to say streets, avenues, and main buildings of a city. You're going to learn how to use prepositions of place to mention where things are in your house or in the city. You have to use possessive adjectives. You're going to learn how to use the definite article the, which is used for plurals and singulars. You're going to learn how to use there is and there are to mention what exists in your house or in the city. And finally, you're going to learn the adverbs of time to mention how often you do something. Okay, right now I'm going to explain the activities to do in week number 2. What are you going to do this week? This is what you have to do. First of all, review the guide and resources of the week. Remember that you can download the guide and check every resource of the week one by one. Next, you have to send the activity. Be my guest is the homework number 3. And homework number 4 is activity come to my house. You also have to do the practice exercises and training activities. You have to participate in the learning forum. You have to do this activity 11. It's a questionnaire. And finally, you have to review the content to learn further and to practice further. Remember that in these sections, you're going to find different links, different pages, different videos and activities to learn more vocabulary and more exercises that are going to help you to understand more this week's content. Okay, now I'm going to explain the activity number 3, which is called Be My Guest. What is Be My Guest? Be My Guest in Spanish is Sé mi huésped. Okay? Yo te atiendo. It's a very common phrase in English that people use when you go to someone's house and they want to treat you well. They welcome you. They offer you food. They show you your room. They want to welcome you into their house, and they want to feel you. They want to make you feel good when you are with them, when you're visiting someone. Okay, so that's the phrase you say. Be my guest. En este momento yo te atiendo. Es una frase muy común, les explicaba. Okay, so instruction number 1 for the activity. First of all, I want you to think why it's important to make someone to feel at home, to feel good when you're visiting someone's house. Why do you think it is important? Okay, when you are traveling, when you go to someone's house for vacation, for example, you want to make them feel at home. You want to make them feel comfortable. You want to make them feel nice. You want to make them feel good. And what do you do to make them feel comfortable? Okay, first of all, you show them your house. You tell them, for example, hey, welcome to my house. This is the living room. This is the bathroom. And on the next floor, you're gonna find your bedroom. This is the garden. This is a refrigerator. This is a kitchen. You can cook, or you can take food or whatever you want. So that's the first thing you do when you have guests in your house. You show them your place, right? Okay, so you're gonna practice your knowledge with this activity. First, what I recommend you to do is know the topics and the rubric before performing the task. Read instructions, read what you have to do, read the information you need to put, and the extension of your activity. And also do the practice exercises, the questionnaire, read all the information so you can have a clear idea of what you need to do. Number 2, you have to read the instructions of the activities very well. Analyze what is requested, the file type, extension, information, etc. Okay? For this activity, you need to download a file. In this document, you are going to work. You don't need to change the document, you don't need to change the information, and you don't need to add a presentation. If you want to, it's an extra activity for you, but it's not necessary. Okay, once you download the document and you read all the instructions, you're going to answer 10 different questions with 3 different answers in each one. You have to indicate where different objects are in your house. Okay? Look at the pictures that you have in the activity, and then according to the pictures, the objects are. Next, after you answer the 10 questions, you have to describe your room using different adjectives and location of the objects that are there. You have to look at the given picture, and according to the objects that you see, you have to describe their room. Number 6. Finally, you're going to record the questions and answer in a maximum audio of 1 minute and 30 seconds. You can use Google Drive or Dropbox. For the audio, remember that the rubric and the activity in the instructions of the activity says that you need to record all the 10 questions with the 3 different answers each, and also the location of the objects that are in the living room. Don't forget. Instruction number 7. You have to put the recording link on the task space. After you put the link, please make sure that I can listen to it correctly and that it doesn't have any permission. Number 8. Check that the document has spelling and correct translations. Check your grammar, check your writing, and check because if you have something in Spanish, the answer is not correct. Everything needs to be in English, not Spanish, just English, okay? Finally, upload the document on the platform with the appropriate. I have an example of different questions and answers for you. This is going to help you do the activity better. For example, where is the stove? Where is the stove? ¿Dónde está la estufa? If you look at the picture, you can see that the stove is in the middle of the kitchen. The stove is next to the refrigerator, next to the sink, and under the microwave. Okay? Maybe you can say the stove is in front of the fruit. The stove is next to the chair. The stove is next to the coffee. Okay? Whatever you want is correct. So, I have 3 different examples for you. For example, the stove is between the fridge and the sink. Between es entre. La estufa está entre el refrigerador y el lavabo o el lavadero. The stove is between the fridge and the sink. Different answer. There is some fruit next to the stove. Una respuesta diferente. Hay algo de fruta a un lado de la estufa. Okay? There is some fruit next to the stove. Otra respuesta diferente sería, the stove is in the middle of the kitchen. There is a salt and pepper next to it. La estufa está en el medio de la cocina. Hay sal y pimienta a un lado de la estufa. Okay, that's a different answer that you can say according to the picture that you have. Remember that for this homework, you need to use prepositions of place and expressions to indicate that there is near the object, there is there. Okay? You can say, for example, there is a lamp next to the fruit, there is the microwave next to the fridge, and so on. Okay? You can say, there is a table under the fruit. There is the sink in front of the fridge, and so on. So you have to use prepositions: under, over, in, on, in front of, behind, next. Okay, an important information to remember is es para cosas en singular, only one thing. Es o está. For example, the stove is in the kitchen. La estufa está en la cocina. La estufa es solo un objeto, por lo tanto utilizamos is, singular. Are is used for plural, and it means son o están. For example, the fruits are on the table. Las frutas están en la mesa. Frutas, más de una, por lo tanto utilizamos el plural are. Okay, next I'm going to explain how to do the activity integrative number 4 called Come to My House. Actividad integradora número 4, Come to My House o Ven a mi casa. For this activity, I recommend you to review the adverbs of time. For example, first, next, after, finally. Adverbs of time are going to help you to mention the order of events. For example, what do you need to do first? Next, after, and final. Okay? You also have to use prepositions of place. For example, next to, at the corner of, between. Prepositions of place are needed in case you want to mention where a place is in a city. For example, the bank is next to the school. The park is at the corner of Insurgentes Avenue. The museum is between the park and the bank. Okay? You also need to learn places in the city, the vocabulary for the places. For example, restaurant, coffee shop, school, bank, museum, gallery, shopping center, and so on. Check also the vocabulary to say how to get to places. For example, turn right, da la vuelta, turn left, vuelta a la izquierda, vuelta a la derecha, go straight on, sigue derecho, walk around, da la vuelta, go to, go past there, over there, turn left, turn right, go straight ahead, cross, cruza, at the corner of, en la esquina de, next to, enseguida, del lado contrario, between, and medio. So you need to check the prepositions of place too. Indications. Okay, for this homework, it is important that you think of how do you do to get to places when you are in a different city where you live. For example, if you go to a different city for vacation and you want to visit a museum, you want to visit the beach, you want to go to the shopping center, you want to go to the local market, and so on, you need to know how to get there. Sometimes you have a map, sometimes you don't have a map, or you have a map and you don't know how to use a map. What do you do when you can't find a place? You ask the people. How do you ask people how to get to the place you want? For example, excuse me, how can I get to the museum? Okay? And then you expect that people shows you how to get to places. In this case, for this homework, you need to explain different places to a friend of yours. A friend of yours from United States comes to Mexico, comes to your house, and wants to visit a museum, a restaurant, a shopping center, a gallery, a bar maybe. How do you explain to him or to her places? Well, you need to be clear, you need to be understood, and you need to explain how to get to places correctly. Because if you explain wrong, the person is going to get lost or is not going to get to his destination. So it's very important to know the vocabulary to explain to someone how to get to the place he or she wants. Okay? Good. So for this activity, number 1, you need to review and learn the vocabulary necessary to do the homework. Number 2, you need to read directions and the rubric very well to know that what is qualified. Okay, for example, extension, what do you need to use, prepositions, what words, what vocabulary, everything is in the rubric. Number 3, you have to download the document Come to My House. You just have to click in the name and you're going to get the document downloaded in the computer or in your cell phone. You need to work in that document and you don't need to change the information, you don't need to change the map or add another picture. In the document Come to My House, you have a map. Analyze the map that comes in the activity and locate the different places shown. For example, look for the bar, look for the school, look for the park, look for the museum. Locate them. Look where they are because you're going to need that information to do your homework. Number 5, answer how to get to 5 different places requested based on the map. You don't need to do the activity with a map of your city or a different map. You need to use the map in your activity. Don't forget. To answer, you have to use adverbs, prepositions, and places of the city as a reference. Finally, record all the questions and answers in an audio and share the link in the same presentation. Remember that you don't need to overpass 1 minute and 30 seconds. That's the maximum time permitted. So record no more than 1 and 30 seconds, okay? Make sure that you have everything correctly, that you don't have words in Spanish, everything is in English, that you say the document with the correct name, and that you also put the correct link. I have some expressions for you to ask and give directions. For example, asking for directions. Excuse me, how do I get to the, excuse me, where is the, excuse me, is there a near here? And give directions. Go straight ahead, go along the street, turn left, turn right, take the first, second turning on the right, on the left, cross the street. You can also mention the names of the street. For example, the bank is on Queen Street. The school is on Park Avenue. The shopping center, the shopping center, oh, sorry. The shopping center is at the corner of the museum and the park. Make sure you know the names of the streets and you know the locations so you can mention the name properly. Suggestions for your homeworks. It's very important that you use only the translator to know how is the pronunciation of words. Don't use a translator for all the activity. Use the dictionary to know the definition of words. You can use the internet, you can use your cell phone, but do not translate all of your homework using a translator. The translator is only going to be used to know how to pronounce the words. When entering a word into the digital translator or dictionary, please verify correctly in Spanish. For example, camina ala. If you write in the translation, camina ala, the translation is walk wing. So it's very important that you write the correct word in Spanish so you can have the correct translation in English. If you can see here, the translation is incorrect because you write incorrect in Spanish too. You have to verify that there are no spelling mistakes. You have to use a capital letter when necessary, periods, commas, uniform tests, and the task is complete. Remember to save the document with the correct nomenclature or name. For example, homework number 3 is last name, underscore, name, underscore, M06S2A1AI3. Okay? Learning forum. What do you have to do in this learning forum? Okay, remember that in this section, you can write any question that you have according to the topic seen this week. If you have questions, if you don't know how to do an activity, if you have doubts on how to use a verb, how to use prepositions, you can always ask in this forum, and your classmates or me are going to help. In this week's forum, you also need to do a different activity. You're going to practice how to identify and describe places in the city, as well as give and follow instructions to reach them. You can also practice how to describe and locate objects for daily use and personal use. Therefore, as a suggestion to the first participation, you must describe 4 objects that you have and 4 objects that you don't have in some part of your house. I invite you to go to the forum and check my suggestions for the participation, for the first participation of the week, and participate, practice your English. For example, you can say, in my living room, there is a TV, there are books, there are movies, and there are not video games. What's there in your bedroom? In my bedroom, there is a bed, there are 2 pillows, there is no TV, and there are no books. Okay? So please go to the learning forum and check all the examples, all the comments of your classmates, and participate practicing your English. This is a sample participation for week number 1. Week number 2, sorry. This is a learning forum for week number 2. Okay, so we have the greeting first. Hello, good morning, classmates. In my living room, there is a television. There are flowers, there is a small lamp, and there are books. Okay, so in this case, I'm mentioning 4 things: television, flowers, lamp, and books. 4. What's not in my living room? 4 things. There is not a table, there are not any windows, there are not any pictures, and there is not a chair. So, I have 4 things in my room, in my living room, and I have 4 things that are not in my room. Okay? So this is a sample participation that you can do for week number 2's forum. The resources and additional material. Remember that you can check the news for file, video links, and exercises. I have these important links and important extra information for you that you can use. For example, to practice adverbs of sequencing using games and activities. You can also practice indicating directions on this web page. It's very interesting. I think they are all very interesting for you. And also, I have another page that you can use to practice prepositions of place, preposiciones de lugar. These pages are games and activities for you, so it's going to be very interesting and didactic also. So it's not just reading or practicing. You're going to learn playing. So that's why I think it's very interesting for you. So after this live session, I recommend you to go to the Foro de Novedades or News Forum. So you can check these pages and download the supporting file, video links, and exercises. Okay, it's time for questions and answers. I'm going to check now all the questions that you may have in the chat, or if you don't have any questions, then I'm going to check in all the questions that you may have and answer them. So I'm back at the chat. I have Liz, Cecilia, and Uriel. Hello everybody, welcome. How are you today? I'm here, I'm right here. Do you have any question, Liz? ¿Alguna pregunta? Cecilia, ¿alguna pregunta para mí que quieran que le responda en esos momentos? Uriel, welcome, bienvenido. You have any question also? You can ask me. This is the time. Este es el momento de hacer algunas preguntas. Si tienen alguna duda, alguna pregunta, con mucho gusto me comentan y le respondo en estos momentos. Remember that if you don't have any question right now, you can contact me through my email or by message, and I can answer you directly. Si no tienen alguna pregunta en estos momentos, con mucho gusto me la mandan a mi correo o a la mensajería de la plataforma y por ese medio ya les respondo. Considero que esta semana las actividades son muy sencillas. Obviamente es necesario estar revisando los recursos como cada una de las semanas con detenimiento para que queden muy bien aprendidos los temas, hacer los ejercicios de práctica para obviamente tener la práctica, revisar el material adicional, las ligas adicionales y sobre todo continuar practicando su inglés para que resulte de manera más sencilla hacer las tareas. Entonces, mi principal recomendación antes de hacer las tareas es de que practiquen haciendo los ejercicios, leyendo el material de los recursos y una vez que ya no tengan dudas, entonces hagan la actividad. Es muy importante también leer las indicaciones paso a paso para que sepan qué es lo que se tiene que hacer y no se brinquen ningún requisito y envíen sus tareas completas. Es muy importante que guarden las tareas con la nomenclatura adecuada. La nomenclatura, en el caso de la actividad integradora 3, la encuentran en el punto número 5 y en la siguiente, si mal no recuerdo, en el punto número 6 de las indicaciones. Ahí viene el nombre. Es muy importante que guarden la tarea con ese nombre, por favor. Recuerden también que es necesario que los audios los graben con la información que se está solicitando y no excedan del tiempo establecido. Es 1 minuto con 30 segundos para cada una de las tareas y es importante grabarlo dentro del tiempo estipulado. Ahora, en cuanto a la actividad donde tienen que responder de 3 maneras diferentes las preguntas, considero que tal vez en esa actividad sí pudieran rebasar el minuto con 30 segundos. Si exceden por algunos segundos, no hay ningún problema. Pero si mandan un audio de 5 minutos o más, pues obviamente ahí sí tiene penalización porque excede mucho más del tiempo permitido. ¿Cómo le pueden hacer para grabar un audio en menos tiempo? Les voy a dar el siguiente consejo. Para hacerlo en menor tiempo, pues que toda la información pueden hacerlo de la siguiente manera. Por ejemplo, en vez de leer la pregunta completa, pueden decir question number 1, pregunta número 1, y luego leer las respuestas. Question number 2, pregunta número 2, y leer las respuestas. Question number 3, pregunta número 3, y así sucesivamente. ¿Correcto? De esa manera, pues lo van a hacer dentro del tiempo estipulado. Ahora, si ustedes consideran que si leen la pregunta completa y las 3 respuestas, de todas maneras lo pueden hacer en un tiempo conveniente, entonces adelante. ¿Ok? No questions. Okay, very good. I'm happy that you don't have any question and everything is clear for you. Qué bueno que no tengan ninguna duda y que todo sea claro. Recuerden también responder de 3 maneras diferentes en esa actividad. No significa que hay que repetir la misma primera respuesta 3 veces, sino que hay que responder utilizando diferente vocabulario para cada una de las respuestas, indicando, por ejemplo, en su primera respuesta un objeto diferente al de la segunda. El chiste es de que utilicen diferentes palabras y todo el vocabulario que se está viendo en los recursos para responder de diferentes maneras. ¿Okay? En la actividad donde tienen que utilizar el mapa para indicar cómo llegar a los diferentes lugares, también es muy importante que utilicen el mapa que viene en esa misma actividad. No van a utilizar otro mapa, el mapa que ustedes elijan o el mapa de su ciudad. No van a indicar dónde están los lugares en su ciudad o en su colonia. Tienen que utilizar el mapa que viene en la actividad. Obviamente también aplican la misma situación con la actividad anterior, donde tienen que describir los objetos que se encuentran en las imágenes proporcionadas. Por ejemplo, van a describir la sala que viene en la imagen, no la sala de ustedes, de su casa, la imagen de la sala, el dibujo, vaya, que viene ahí en la tarea. Van a hablar de los objetos y de su ubicación en la cocina que viene integrada ahí, en la recámara, en el baño, etc. Entonces van a utilizar los objetos que vienen en los documentos, no los de su casa, para que no se confundan en esa parte. Entonces, bueno, si no hay dudas, Liz, Cecilia, Uriel, thank you very much. Qué bueno que no haya dudas, señal de que todo quedó entendido, me da mucho gusto. Voy a continuar entonces ya para concluir con esta sesión del día de hoy. Denme un segundo para compartirles la pantalla. Okay, so we're going to continue. There are no more questions. We're going to continue to finish the activity. Thank you very much. I'm very happy that you're here with me today. I hope you have enjoyed today's presentation, and I'm happy that you don't have any questions. I think everything was clear, and this week's actually very easy to finish and very easy to understand. Finally, I would like to remind you the extension, activities extension. If you couldn't upload an activity last week and you need an extension, please send me a message and explain the reason why you couldn't upload your activity, what activity you need to upload, if there is one or there are two, and please have your activity ready to upload. Remember that you only have Monday through Wednesday to upload your activity. After Wednesday, you won't have more time during the week. So please have your activity ready, and please let me know if you need an extension. I will be happy to give you the extension, okay? If you have any question, if you have any doubt, don't hesitate and contact me. Remember that I have 24 hours to answer you. And finally, I have a few activities to check from last week's homework. And today I'm going to check all the activities, and your grades are going to be ready. So you can check your grades and your comments of your homeworks. Today at night, I think everything is going to be ready. You can check in evidence portfolio evidencias, your grades for the second activity. Okay, so thank you very much for being here. Remember that you can always watch the presentation on the same link that I shared to you. Right now, I invite you to check the news forum because I'm going to share the support material on a PDF file. I'm also going to share the work, the additional support links, and also this link session. So you can check it out next if you want the work. Okay, thank you. Have a good day. Have a good afternoon, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye. Muchas gracias. Les agradezco el estar presentes. Recuerden que la sesión la pueden volver a visualizar cualquier otro día de la semana. Los invito a revisar el foro de novedades, donde les voy a compartir las ligas que les mostré hace un momento. Les voy a compartir también un material adicional, el cual pueden descargar en un archivo de PDF. Y esta liga de la sesión grabada también ahí va a ir en ese mismo mensaje. Los invito a revisarla al finalizar esta sesión. También les recuerdo que es muy importante que si alguno de ustedes no pudo subir alguna actividad integradora de la semana pasada, se puede comunicar conmigo para solicitarme una extensión. Revisen por favor el contenido de su mensaje. También se los compartí en el foro de novedades el día de hoy. Por la mañana se los compartí en el mensaje y comuníquense conmigo para solicitar una extensión. Recuerden que tienen de lunes a miércoles de la semana que continúa a la que finalizó para subir sus tareas, para solicitar su extensión también. Si tienen alguna eventualidad o algún detalle, por favor no duden en contactarme, con mucho gusto los apoyo. Que tengan un excelente día, gracias por su atención y seguimos en contacto. Recuerden que estoy a sus órdenes en la mensajería o en mi correo electrónico. Hasta luego, have a great day, have a great afternoon.